Did you know that Neptune was discovered using math? Neptune is the only planet whose existence was predicted through mathematical calculations before it was seen through a telescope. In the 19th century, astronomers noticed that Uranus's orbit didn't match expectations, and they hypothesized that this was caused by the gravitational pull of an unknown planet. After calculations and extensive observation, Neptune was discovered, marking a triumph of science. This fact shows how powerful math is. It helped discover an entire planet long before it could be seen. Can you imagine that Cleopatra, the famous queen of Egypt, wasn't Egyptian by birth? Cleopatra VII, the last ruler of ancient Egypt, was born into the Ptolemaic dynasty, which was of Macedonian and Greek descent. She was the first in her family to learn the Egyptian language and adopt local customs, making her a unique figure in history. This queen, who blended cultures and identities, seems to have stepped right out of legend, connecting ancient civilizations and shaping her own remarkable story. The elephant trunk trick. 40,000 muscles in one nose. Yes, you read that right. An elephant's trunk contains about 40,000 muscles. That's more than the entire human body, and this is why an elephant's trunk is so incredibly versatile. With it, elephants can lift heavy branches, gently pick berries, drink water, make sounds, and even caress their young. But did you know that young elephants often suck on their trunks, just like children suck their thumbs? It helps them feel calm and secure, a true wonder of nature. Such a complex and multifunctional organ like the elephant's trunk. Hell freezes over every year. Believe it or not, there's a town in Norway called Hell, and it literally freezes over every winter. This is not a joke, it's a real place on the map. And although the town is quite small, it attracts tourists every year thanks to its unusual name. Due to Norway's cold climate, Hell is covered in ice and snow every winter, often sparking jokes. When hell freezes over is a phrase that is rather common for the residents of this town. So if you want to see hell for yourself, head to Norway in the winter and watch it freeze over. Wow! It turns out that laws in the US can be quite strange. For example, in Arizona, it is illegal to place a donkey in a bathtub, and violating this law can result in a fine. In Alabama, there is a unique law prohibiting carrying ice cream in your pocket. These absurd yet real laws reflect not only eccentricity, but also the uniqueness of each state's culture. Laws that may seem puzzling to residents of other regions result from local traditions and historical development, making each state uniquely distinctive. Imagine a hybrid of a cow and a bison. It's a beefalo. Yes, there exists a unique hybrid of a cow and a bison called a beefalo. These animals combine the traits of both cows and bison, and they are known for their impressive hardiness. Beefalos can be found in certain regions of the United States, where they have become agricultural stars. They are bred as a more resilient alternative to traditional livestock, being better suited to harsh conditions. Imagine, you're on a stroll and come across this amazing creature that looks like a mix of the majesty of a wild bison and the domesticity of a cow. A true wonder of nature, brought to life by genetic experimentation. How long do you think the world's longest tongue is? British artist Nick Stubrel holds the title for the world's longest tongue. His tongue measures an impressive 10.1 centimeters, just under 4 inches. Nick can perform amazing tricks with his tongue. He can lick his nose, elbow, and even his own eye. He has also turned his unique talent into an art form, using his tongue to paint portraits. Nick covers his tongue in paint and makes strokes on canvas, creating truly unusual pieces of art. Talk about extraordinary skills. Laika, the first star among space dogs. In 1957, a small Moscow stray named Laika became a true hero when she launched into space aboard Sputnik 2. Laika was the first living being to orbit the Earth, proving that life could survive in zero gravity. Her mission was a key part of the Soviet space program, which paved the way for future space exploration. Though Laika's return to Earth was not planned, her bravery inspired a generation of scientists and marked an important step toward conquering the cosmos. Laika remains a symbol of courage and sacrifice for the sake of progress. Have you ever thought about how whales sing underwater? Whales produce sounds that can be heard hundreds of kilometers away underwater. These sounds help them communicate and find mates, even across vast distances. Whale songs can last for hours, and each one is unique, like a fingerprint. These songs change over the years, making them not just a means of communication, but also a form of cultural heritage passed down through generations. Is it possible that giraffes only sleep 30 minutes a day? These incredible animals can survive on minimal sleep. Giraffes sleep for only about 30 minutes a day, and they even do it standing up. They have a special mechanism that allows them to rest in short intervals of a few minutes to avoid predators. With such long legs, they can quickly spot approaching danger. Actually, sea lions create beachside chaos with their voices. On rocky coastal breeding grounds, sea lions don't just gather. They erupt into a roaring sea of sound. These social mammals produce more than 30 distinct vocalizations, ranging from guttural growls to piercing squeals. Each sound has a specific function: defending territory, attracting mates, or calling for pups. During the mating season, dominant males turn beach zones into fortress bars, where they bellow night and day to ward off rivals. Amid this chaos, pups learn the exact vocal fingerprint of their mothers, allowing reunification in dense colonies. Researchers discovered that sea lion calls evolve into regional dialects, much like human accents. Vocal traditions are passed down through generations. These aren't just noises. They're an intricate language that supports social cohesion, identity, and even cultural inheritance. How would you react if you found out that moving lakes exist in Kenya? In Kenya, there are unique salt lakes that change location depending on rainfall levels. These lakes can disappear for months only to reappear in a new location after the rainy season. Researchers believe that the movement of water in these lakes depends on underground rivers and tectonic shifts. Such lakes create a unique ecosystem, attracting animals and birds that follow the water. Have you ever wondered where the word okay came from? Can you imagine that one of the most popular words in the world came from a simple joke? In 1839 in Boston, the phrase all correct was intentionally misspelled as all correct in a humorous newspaper article. This abbreviation, shortened to OK, quickly became common in everyday language. Since then, OK has become universal, understood in almost every corner of the world. It signifies agreement, affirmation, or just a friendly gesture. From humble beginnings to global spread, OK proves that even a joke can become a linguistic phenomenon. Now, when you use this word, you can remember its amusing origins. Did you know that Philadelphia was the first capital of the United States? This city was chosen to host the Continental Congress, which played a crucial role in the country's independence. The city's name, derived from Greek, means brotherly love, symbolizing the spirit of unity and mutual support that inspired the early Americans in the formation of their new nation. Today, Philadelphia continues to hold significant historical importance in the context of the U.S. and remains a site for important cultural and political events. Did you know that there's a stone forest on Earth? In China's Yunnan province, you'll find one of the most unique natural phenomena, the Shailan, or stone forest. This astonishing forest isn't made of trees, but of towering limestone pillars that rise towards the sky like jagged spikes of rock. The age of this extraordinary forest is over 270 million years. Erosion from rain and wind has sculpted the rocks into such bizarre shapes. For centuries, people have attributed mystical powers to this place, and local legends claim that spirits of nature inhabit Shailan. It's so majestic and mysterious, it almost looks like a set from a fantasy movie. How would you react if I told you there's a building that's built inside out? In Dubai, one of the most unique skyscrapers in the world is Eiffel Tower. This 73-story skyscraper is twisted 90 degrees along its vertical axis. This gives it a distinctive architectural and engineering design. It creates the impression that the building is twisted like a giant spiral. It symbolizes an innovative approach to construction and has become one of the city's main attractions. Imagine that the colors of the American flag match those of the Russian flag. This coincidence is not accidental, as each of the three colors on the American flag symbolizes specific qualities form the foundation of the American nation. Red represents valor and resilience. Blue signifies diligence, justice, and vigilance, while white stands for innocence and purity. Interestingly, the number of stars on the American flag corresponds to the number of states, and the stripes symbolize the original colonies that formed the first states. The flag's design was created by a teenager as part of a school assignment, for which he received a B. Who would have thought that quokkas always look happy? The quokka's viral fame stems from its irresistibly cheerful expression, a wide-eyed, open-mouthed smile that melts hearts online. But behind the grin is biology, not joy. Their facial structure naturally forms a pleasant look, regardless of mood. That said, quokkas truly are more sociable than most wild animals. Native to predator-free islands in Australia, they've evolved without the instinct to fear humans. Over generations, their willingness to approach people brought food rewards, favoring the survival of friendly individuals. As a result, modern quokkas are bold, curious, and often interact directly with tourists. Their behavior is a case study in how evolutionary pressures, not emotions, can shape the friendliness of a species. So next time you see a quokka selfie, remember, it's not smiling for the camera. It's thriving thanks to a perfect mix of charm and adaptation. What if I told you there are floating markets in some countries? In Thailand and Vietnam, you can find markets located right on the water. Traders sell fruits, vegetables, and souvenirs from small boats, creating an amazing and colorful scene. These markets are located along canals where people can literally paddle up to the goods they want. This unique tradition attracts tourists from all over the world, allowing them to immerse themselves in the local culture and trading atmosphere. Did you know there are 1,500 types of tea? The world of tea is a universe of flavors and aromas. There are about 1,500 types of tea, ranging from familiar black and green teas to exotic blends with fruits and herbs. Millions of people around the world drink tea, and each type offers a unique experience and its own health benefits. Drinking tea is a whole ritual in which you can explore different cultures and traditions, discovering new flavors with every sip. Can you imagine a snowflake the size of a plate? In 1887, the largest snowflake ever recorded fell in Montana. It was 15 inches wide and 8 inches thick. That's the size of a dinner plate. Imagine being under such a snowstorm. This amazing event went down in meteorological history as the most unusual snow phenomenon. So next time you complain about the snow, think, it could have been much bigger and more impressive. Did you know giraffes barely sleep? Giraffes are masters of the power nap. These towering creatures need only about 1 hour and 9 minutes of sleep a day, and even then, they break their sleep into short bursts, perfecting the art of napping. This remarkable adaptation shows how nature can surprise us with its creativity. Imagine how productive humans could be if we only needed 2 hours of sleep per day. Why do cat whiskers really resemble antennas? Whiskers, technically called vibrissae, are far more than decorative features on a cat's face. These thick, stiff hairs are deeply embedded in nerve-rich follicles, making them ultra-sensitive to touch, airflow, and vibration. Found not only on the muzzle but also above the eyes, on the jaw, and even on the paws, whiskers navigate tight spaces, hunt in darkness, and judge distances before leaping. They detect air currents around objects, giving cats a kind of sixth sense that lets them see with touch. When stalking prey, whiskers track the slightest movements, helping cats pinpoint the exact location of a target. During a jump, they act like gyroscopic sensors, helping with last-second mid-air corrections. In essence, whiskers are natural motion detectors and navigation tools, biological radar systems that turn every cat into a precision-controlled predator. Did you know there is no concept of sound in space? The vacuum of space does not transmit sound waves because there are no molecules to carry them. This means that explosions or loud events in space, like in sci-fi movies, would actually be silent. If you found yourself in open space, you'd see flashes and movements, but you'd hear absolutely nothing. So space isn't just dark, it's also eerily quiet. The shortest war lasted only 38 minutes. In 1896, a war broke out between Britain and the Sultanate of Zanzibar, which became the shortest in history. The conflict began when the Sultan of Zanzibar refused to comply with British demands. Britain sent warships into the harbor, and within 38 minutes of intense bombardment, the Sultan surrendered. During that time, the British ships destroyed the Sultan's palace and his fleet before installing a new ruler who supported British interests. This record for the fastest war conclusion has never been broken. The Babylonian lottery, fate decides dinner. Imagine your dinner invitation being decided by a lottery. In ancient Babylon, there was a lottery where fate literally determined who would attend the feast. This method of selecting banquet guests added an element of randomness and unpredictability to social life. Fate played a decisive role in who would be at the dinner table. This ancient custom shows just how much in life can depend on chance, especially when it comes to something as delightful as dinner. How much do you think the world's most expensive pizza costs? In 2007, Scottish chef Domenico Crolla created the Royal 007 pizza, priced at a staggering $4,200. This gourmet pizza was topped with luxurious ingredients like edible gold flakes, caviar, smoked salmon, and venison marinated in champagne. It was auctioned off for charity, making it a culinary masterpiece worth its weight in gold. Now that's a slice of royal extravagance. Believe it or not, an elephant's trunk is nature's Swiss Army knife. What looks like a long, flexible hose is actually one of the most advanced biological tools on Earth. An elephant's trunk is a muscular marvel composed of over 40,000 individual muscles and no bones, giving it the strength to lift logs and the finesse to pluck a single blade of grass. It serves as a snorkel when swimming, a trumpet for communication, and even a tool for delicate social gestures, like stroking another elephant's face. The tip alone is so sensitive and dexterous that it can unwrap a peanut or gently clean a baby's eyes. With a sense of smell far more powerful than a bloodhound's, the trunk can detect water sources kilometers away or sense danger on the wind. It is not just a nose, it's a multi-tool for survival, nurturing, and exploration. Evolution gave elephants a single appendage that replaces a dozen other body parts, and they use it like pros. How iron buttocks help Samsung test phone durability. Have you ever wondered how smartphone manufacturers test the durability of their devices? Samsung uses a rather unusual method to test their phones. They created a special robot shaped like human buttocks that sits on phones to simulate the pressure people exert when they sit with their phones in their back pockets. The robot even wears jeans to make the test as realistic as possible. This innovative testing helps the company ensure that their devices can withstand everyday challenges and won't break under pressure. Is it possible? Sea otters hold hands while sleeping. Sea otters are one of the most adorable animals in the ocean, and they have a heartwarming habit of holding hands while they sleep. This behavior isn't just cute, it serves a practical purpose, preventing them from drifting apart in ocean currents. By holding on to each other, they form small floating rafts, demonstrating their strong social bonds and clever ways to stay together in the ever-moving sea. Can you believe that the electric chair was actually invented by a dentist? Believe it or not, the electric chair, one of the most infamous devices in history, was conceived by Alfred P. Southwick, a dentist. Southwick designed the electric chair in the late 19th century as a more humane alternative to hanging. This shocking invention forever changed the history of capital punishment. It's almost ironic to think that a person dedicated to caring for people's teeth would create such a grim device. Did you know there's a banana you shouldn't eat? In Hawaii, a unique type of banana called the plantain banana grows, which despite its appetizing appearance, is not meant to be eaten. It tastes very bitter, somewhat like a potato. Locals use it for weaving traditional crafts rather than food. Tourists are often surprised by these bananas, but the locals are quick to warn, don't try eating them. Wow! It turns out the Bombardier beetle fights with chemistry. Among insects, few are as explosively clever as the Bombardier beetle. When threatened, it doesn't flee, it fires. Inside its abdomen, it stores hydroquinone and hydrogen peroxide in separate chambers. When danger nears, enzymes mix these two chemicals, triggering an exothermic reaction that releases a jet of boiling, noxious fluid at nearly 100 degrees. This chemical blast is ejected through a swiveling abdomen that allows the beetle to aim like a tiny flamethrower, defending itself from predators many times its size. The entire reaction completes in less than a second, accompanied by an audible pop that startles attackers. What's even more astonishing is the beetle's internal valve system, which pulses the blast in bursts to prevent self-injury. This is chemistry at its most aggressive, an insect-turned-walking lab reactor, capable of outsmarting predators with pure elemental force. Being born on February 29th is a 1 in 1,461 chance. People born on February 29th belong to a very rare club, as this date appears on the calendar only once every 4 years, during a leap year. The odds of being born on this day are about 1 in 1,461. That means only about 0.068% of the population celebrates their birthday on February 29th. They often joke that they age only once every 4 years. Some throw grand parties to mark this special day, making it an even more memorable celebration. It's interesting that Italy has a failed skyscraper. In Milan, there is a skyscraper that locals call the failure. The Pirelli building, constructed in the 1950s, became a symbol of architectural failure, constantly requiring repairs due to design flaws. Despite its modern shape, the building became an object of mockery, but over time, it transformed into one of the city's iconic landmarks thanks to its unusual fate. Can it be true that sharks never stop swimming, even when they sleep? Unlike other fish, sharks don't have swim bladders, so they must keep moving to stay buoyant and breathe. Some sharks can enter a semi-sleep state where half their brain rests while the other half keeps them swimming. Thus, sharks literally swim their entire lives without stopping. Did you know that laughter is good for your heart? Laughter is not just a way to lift your mood, but also a great way to keep your heart healthy. Scientists have proven that laughter improves circulation, helps blood vessels expand, and reduces stress levels. It's like a natural medicine that helps your heart work better and longer. So next time you laugh, remember, you're not just improving your mood, but also giving your heart a great gift. Laughter really is the best medicine. Have you ever considered that ethnic tension in the U.S. is still an issue? Tensions between ethnic groups remain one of the most pressing social issues in the United States. Historically, laws prohibiting marriage between people of different races were in place, and it wasn't until 1967 that this ban was lifted. Nevertheless, racial tension continues to be a significant topic in American politics, culture, and daily life. Social movements like Black Lives Matter aim to highlight this issue, which remains relevant to society as a whole. Believe it or not, cuttlefish change not only color, but also skin texture. The cuttlefish, a cousin of the octopus and squid, is a living billboard of biological illusion. With astonishing speed, it can shift its skin through millions of color combinations using 3 types of pigment cells: chromatophores, iridophores, and leucophores, layered in dynamic harmony. But it goes further. Muscular papillae under the skin allow it to raise bumps, spikes, or wrinkles, mimicking the texture of coral, sand, or seaweed. This allows the cuttlefish to not only blend visually into its surroundings, but also physically disappear into the landscape. What's more, cuttlefish make these transformations based on sight and memory. They study the environment and decide the best disguise, revealing learning and problem-solving abilities. This shape-shifting skill is both defense and offense, allowing them to hide from predators or sneak up on prey without ever being noticed. Did you know that the name John is over 4,000 years old? The name John is one of the oldest in human history, documented more than 4,000 years ago. This name has endured through countless ages and cultures, remaining relevant even today. Just imagine, millions of people throughout history have carried this simple yet powerful name, which continues to symbolize tradition and endurance. Did you know that the world's longest hair measures over 18 feet? A Chinese woman named Shi Kuping holds the Guinness World Record for the longest hair, which measures a staggering 5.62 meters. That's about 18 feet and 5 inches. She began growing her hair at the age of 13 in 1973 and hasn't cut it since. Taking care of such long hair is no easy task. She spends hours every week washing it and at least 2 hours just combing it. Sometimes she braids her hair or wraps it around herself to make moving easier. This record has remained unbeatable for decades. Why do you think there is a skyscraper in Spain that stands empty? In Benidorm, Spain, there is a famous skyscraper called Intempo, which was planned as a residential complex. However, construction ended without considering several crucial details, including elevators that do not reach the top floors. Despite its grandeur, the building remains empty because it is unfit for use. It has now become a symbol of planning errors and a reminder of the importance of considering every detail in architecture. Did you know that the kiwi is a nocturnal sleuth with its nose at the tip of its bill? Unlike any other bird on Earth, the kiwi's nostrils are located at the very tip of its long, probing beak, an extraordinary adaptation that allows it to literally smell its prey before touching it. Living in the forest floor's leaf litter, the kiwi uses this keen sense of smell, along with sensitive whisker-like feathers, vibrissae, to detect insects and worms buried 10 centimeters below ground. With poor eyesight, it relies on these tools to navigate and forage by night. The kiwi also lays one of the largest eggs in proportion to body size, up to 20% of its body weight, requiring intense investment from the female and careful care from both parents. Endemic to New Zealand and sacred in Maori culture, the kiwi is a conservation icon, a bird that defies flight, daylight, and bird-like norms, all while thriving in its underground world. Did you know that American strength lies not only in its economy, but also in its geography? Imagine the United States as a country whose geography is perfectly suited for global dominance. Unlike many nations that must fight for every square inch of land, Americans can control 2 oceans due to their unique position. This makes the U.S. invulnerable to invasions and allows dominance in global trade. How have they leveraged this advantage? The U.S. has used its geography to establish strategically important maritime routes and exploit them to its benefit. For instance, by utilizing the seaway across 2 oceans, they control a significant portion of world trade. Could sloths really swim like fish? While sloths are known for their slow, tree-bound lives, their aquatic skills might surprise you. Despite their sluggish movement on land, sloths become graceful and capable swimmers in water. Using long arms and powerful forelimbs, they perform an effortless breaststroke, reaching speeds of up to 3 meters per minute. Their buoyant bodies, helped by slow metabolism and a layer of fat, allow them to float and move across rivers and flooded rainforest floors with minimal effort. They can even hold their breath underwater for 40 seconds, diving to avoid predators or cross swamps. Young sloths learn to swim just weeks after birth, showing how vital this skill is to survival. For these treetop residents, swimming isn't just an escape route. It's an essential part of navigating the lush, water-laced jungles of Central and South America. Can you imagine that the U.S. controls 80% of global maritime trade? In fact, the U.S. is a major force in global shipping routes. 80% of world trade moves via the oceans, and surprisingly, the U.S. controls a significant portion of this traffic. In the 20th century, Americans recognized how to leverage their geographic potential to dominate the global economy. For a long time, trade routes ran through the Atlantic Ocean, but starting in the 1980s, an equal amount of goods began to be transported via the Pacific Ocean. This allowed the U.S. to expand its influence and gain an advantage in trade with Asian countries. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. This famous university was founded in the 12th century, long before the Aztecs began building their great empire in the 14th century. Oxford University has witnessed the rise and fall of entire civilizations and has survived through dozens of historical eras. This academic giant, with its centuries-long history, continues to be a beacon of knowledge and culture, attracting students from all over the world. Imagine, when European cities were just beginning to develop, Oxford was already a center of learning, surviving wars, changing borders and revolutions. Did you know that lightning is hotter than the sun? The temperature of lightning can reach up to 30,000 degrees Celsius, which is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This incredible natural phenomenon is one of the most powerful forces on Earth. When lightning strikes, it releases an enormous amount of energy in just a few milliseconds, heating the air around it to extreme temperatures. Lightning is truly nature's own flamethrower, bringing intense heat with every flash. Can you imagine that the total weight of all ants on Earth equals the weight of all humans? Despite their tiny size, ants are among the most numerous creatures on the planet. The weight of all ants on Earth is equal to the weight of all humans. This astonishing fact highlights just how numerous these small workers are. Ants live in every corner of the planet, and their contribution to ecosystems is incredibly important. It's another example of how nature surprises us with its unexpected scales. Who would have thought that ants are such heavyweights in the natural world? Did you know that boxfish wear armor like real tanks? Boxfish, members of the family Ostracidae, are nature's aquatic tanks. Instead of flexible skin or scales, they're encased in a rigid, bony exoskeleton made of interlocking hexagonal plates that form a hard, box-like shell. This armor makes them nearly immune to bites and scrapes, especially in rough reef environments. Though their shape limits speed, it adds incredible stability, allowing them to make precise, slow maneuvers through coral. Some species even excrete a milky, toxic mucus when stressed, deterring predators with both chemical and visual warnings. Bright patterns on their bodies serve as aposematic signals, further discouraging attacks. Engineers study boxfish for their biomechanics, using their body shape to inspire designs in automobile and underwater robotics. In the evolutionary trade-off between speed and safety, the boxfish proves that armored resilience can sometimes be the winning strategy. Did you know that the U.S. seized Panama for the canal? In 1903, when Panama was still part of Colombia, the U.S. engaged in a real political maneuvering. On November 4th, an uprising broke out in Panama, and the U.S. Navy blocked Colombian forces from suppressing the revolt. Just 2 days later, on November 6th, the U.S. recognized Panama's independence. Soon after, a treaty was signed granting the U.S. control over the Panama Canal, as well as the right to station troops in Panama and construct the canal. In exchange, the U.S. paid $10 million and an annual rent of $250,000. The canal opened new trade routes, but most importantly, provided the U.S. with a strategic advantage, allowing for rapid military deployment between oceans. Why has the U.S. become a leader on the global stage? After the Civil War ended in 1865, the country entered an era of industrial growth and expanding influence. By around 1900, following the annexation of Mexican territory and other successful wars, the U.S. began to dominate the Western Hemisphere. Roosevelt's corollary, which asserted the U.S. right to intervene in Latin American affairs, solidified this status. After World War II, the U.S. emerged as a world leader, allowing it to leverage military power and economic resources to influence international events. Since the 20th century, the U.S. has employed both force and diplomacy to establish its global leadership. Did you know the world's longest beard measured over 5 meters? The world's longest beard belonged to Hans Langseth, a Norwegian who passed away in 1927. His beard measured an incredible 5.33 meters, or over 17 feet. His legendary beard was so impressive that it was showcased at fairs and exhibitions. After Hans's death, his beard was donated to the Smithsonian Institution, where it remains on display. This epic beard has become a symbol of beard greatness and is admired by many. Why are trees in Poland mysteriously bent? In the crooked forest near the village of Gryfino in Poland, there are trees with mysterious curved trunks. Their bend begins almost at the roots, and the trees grow at an angle before straightening up. The exact reasons for this bend are unknown, and there are many theories from human intervention to natural anomalies. The crooked forest has become a popular tourist destination, drawing travelers eager to solve this natural mystery. Did you know that ancient Egyptians created the first calendar? Ancient Egyptians were among the first to develop a calendar based on the cycles of the sun. They divided the year into 3 seasons, each consisting of 4 months. This calendar was created to accurately predict the flooding of the Nile, which was crucial for their agricultural activities. This calendar is still considered one of the greatest scientific achievements of the ancient world, helping people manage time and natural resources. Who would have thought the axolotl regenerates lost limbs without a scar? The axolotl, Ambystoma mexicanum, a rare Mexican amphibian, is a biological wonder frozen in a larval state, retaining gills and aquatic habits throughout its life. But its real superpower is regeneration. Axolotls can regrow entire limbs, spinal cords, parts of the brain, and even portions of the heart without leaving a trace of scarring. Instead of forming fibrous tissue, they create a blastema, cells that behave like embryonic stem cells, rebuilding complex structures with precision. Scientists are decoding the axolotl genome to understand the genes responsible, hoping to apply this knowledge to human tissue repair and spinal cord injuries. In labs, axolotls have already advanced research in limb regrowth and cancer resistance. This permanently youthful creature holds answers to some of biology's most profound medical questions. Hard to believe, but there's a flying snake in Africa. In Africa, there's a snake known as the tree glider that can move from branch to branch, almost as if it's flying. It flattens its body and uses it as a parachute, covering distances of up to 20 meters in the air. These snakes use their flight abilities to escape predators and quickly move between trees. They look like creatures from a sci-fi movie, but this is the reality of the wild, where anything is possible. Did you know that astronauts can't burp in space? In the absence of gravity, our bodily functions behave very differently than on Earth. One of the strange effects is that astronauts cannot burp in space. On Earth, gravity helps separate gas from food in the stomach, allowing us to release air. But in space without gravity, gases remain mixed with liquids, making burping impossible. In fact, if astronauts tried to drink carbonated beverages, it could lead to rather unpleasant results. It's a small reminder of how much gravity influences our everyday functions and how amazing our bodies are in space conditions. Did you know that platypuses are venomous? This cute and mysterious animal from Australia has a real weapon hidden in its legs. Male platypuses have venomous spurs on their hind legs, which they use to inject toxins into their enemies or competitors during mating battles. While the venom is not deadly to humans, it can cause excruciating pain that lasts for months. Who would have thought that these seemingly harmless animals could be so dangerous? Did you know that Great Britain was not always an island? Great Britain is an island nation that comprises 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. However, it wasn't always an island. About 88,000 years ago, before the Ice Age, the land that is now Great Britain was part of the continent. It was only after rising sea levels separated the land that Great Britain became an island. This process was a result of climate change and altered the entire geography of the region. The Eiffel Tower grows in summer. Every year when summer hits Paris, the Eiffel Tower undergoes a little growth spurt. Its height can increase by a few centimeters due to the thermal expansion of iron. As temperatures rise, the metal expands, making the tower stretch upwards as if waking up from a winter slumber. This phenomenon shows how even majestic and sturdy structures, like the Eiffel Tower, are influenced by nature. And when summer ends and temperatures drop, the tower shrinks back to its usual height. It's a reminder that architecture and nature are always dancing together in harmony. Have you ever wondered what makes Britain so unique? One of the most distinctive aspects of the UK is its ability to blend ancient history with modernity. Despite its roots in ancient times, Britain has successfully adapted to a changing world, allowing it to remain a significant player on the international stage. Additionally, British culture has made a profound impact on art, literature, and science. Who would have thought that dolphins sleep with one eye open? Yes, it's true. Dolphins have a unique ability to shut down half of their brain while the other half remains active. This allows them to rest while staying alert for predators and maintaining control over their breathing. Imagine being able to sleep while still ready to wake up at any moment. This evolutionary trick helps dolphins survive in the ocean. 857 hours of film, the longest movie in the world. The Swedish experimental film Logistics is officially the longest film in the world. Its duration is 857 hours. That's 35 days and 17 hours. The film was shot in real time and depicts the fascinating, though quite monotonous journey of a pedometer, a device for measuring distance, from a factory in China to a buyer in Sweden. If you want to watch the entire film, you'll need almost a month and a half of continuous viewing. Who would have thought that logistics could be so long? Can you imagine that 1 billion seconds equals 32 years? If you calculate 1 billion seconds equals approximately 31 years, 8 months, and 8 days. It's an example of how easy it is to get lost in the measurement of time when it is expressed in such large numbers. For comparison, in that period, a child could grow up, become an adult, and graduate from university. Time moves quietly, and realizing that 1 billion seconds covers such a long span of life makes you think about its value and fleeting nature. Can you handle the heat of the world's spiciest chili pepper? The Carolina Reaper, bred by farmer Ed Curry in South Carolina, USA, holds the record for being the hottest pepper in the world with a Scoville rating of 1,600,000 units. That makes it 640 times hotter than a jalapeno. Its wrinkled red skin may look harmless, but consuming it can cause intense pain, sweating, and even vomiting. This is one fiery adventure that only the bravest dare to taste. Can you imagine a world where dads give birth, seahorses live it? In the underwater realm of seahorses, traditional gender roles are flipped. It's the male that becomes pregnant. After a graceful mating dance, the female deposits eggs into the male's brood pouch, a specialized chamber on his abdomen. The male fertilizes the eggs and incubates them for weeks, regulating temperature, oxygen flow, and salinity. During this time, he nourishes the embryos, protects them from predators, and even contracts in labor to release the fully formed young into the ocean. This is the only known case of true male pregnancy in the animal kingdom. Ancient Asian cultures viewed seahorses as symbols of protection and good fortune, perhaps drawn to their unusual parenting habits. Biologists continue to study this rare adaptation for insights into reproductive biology and evolutionary diversity. In the world of seahorses, fatherhood takes on a whole new level of commitment. Did you know that William Shakespeare remains one of the most influential figures in literature? As an English playwright and poet, he is rightly regarded as one of the most significant authors in world literature. Despite the fact that no portrait of him was created during his lifetime, his works, such as Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, and Macbeth, continue to resonate and inspire people worldwide. Shakespeare not only expanded the boundaries of language by creating over 1,700 new words, but he also shaped the foundations of how human nature is understood in literature. His works have continued to influence literature and theater for centuries. Is it possible? The world's largest flower can reach 3 feet in diameter. Meet the Rafflesia, a giant flower that astonishes with its size. The diameter of this extraordinary plant can reach nearly 1 meter, making it a true botanical wonder. But it's not just its size that makes the Rafflesia famous. Its smell resembles rotting meat, attracting pollinating insects. This enormous, eccentric plant perfectly illustrates the diversity of nature, showing that flowers can be not only beautiful, but also absolutely surprising. Did you know that residents of the United Kingdom who turn 100 years old receive a congratulatory message from the monarch? Every British citizen reaching this milestone gets a personal greeting from the reigning monarch. It is a symbol of respect and gratitude for the long life they have lived. This tradition highlights the importance of honoring the elderly in the UK, where historical continuity and respect for heritage are core values. Each congratulatory moment becomes part of the personal story of thousands, strengthening the bond between the monarchy and its people. Hyundai logo. What do the shaking hands hide? Have you ever wondered what the Hyundai logo means? It's not just an H on an oval background. If you look closely, you'll notice that the logo resembles 2 people shaking hands. This symbol represents Hyundai's commitment to building trusting relationships between the company and its customers. The oval surrounding the letter symbolizes the brand's global ambitions, while the handshake is a sign of successful cooperation. Since its inception, Hyundai has emphasized quality, reliability, and customer satisfaction, and their logo reflects this philosophy. So the next time you see a Hyundai car on the road, remember that the symbol is more than just a logo. It's a story of trust and partnership. Peanuts aren't nuts, they're legumes. You might be surprised to learn that, botanically speaking, peanuts aren't actually nuts. Peanuts belong to the legume family, like peas, beans, and lentils. Unlike true nuts, such as walnuts and almonds, peanuts grow underground and don't have a hard shell enclosing a single seed. A nut, in botanical terms, is a dry fruit with a hard shell, but peanuts don't fit that definition. Even though we often think of them as nuts, they're technically closer to peas and beans, but with a unique taste all their own. Can you guess when the first mobile phone call was made? On April 3, 1973, the first mobile phone call in history was made. This historic moment took place in New York City when Motorola engineer Martin Cooper dialed the number of his competitor. The phone was bulky and weighed over 1 kilogram. This call marked the beginning of a new era in communications, paving the way for the sleek smartphones we carry with us today. Can you imagine that some flowers eat mice? This isn't science fiction, it's reality. There are carnivorous plants, such as the nepenthes or pitcher plants, that can trap and digest not only insects but also small animals like mice. These plants secrete sweet nectar to lure their prey. And once the animal falls into the pitcher, it can't escape. The plant world is far more cunning and mysterious than it seems. Can you believe the fastest land animal can run at 120 kilometers per hour? The cheetah is nature's sprinting wonder, capable of reaching speeds of up to 120 kilometers per hour, which is about 75 miles per hour. However, its incredible speed is only for short bursts, as the cheetah can maintain this pace for just a few seconds before exhaustion and heat set in. Despite this, its brief but powerful sprint makes it the king of land predators. But if we're talking about speed in general, the absolute champion remains the peregrine falcon, which we discussed in our last video. This bird can dive at speeds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour. How would you react if you knew that in Japan, buildings are made of paper? In Japan, they are developing innovative buildings made from recycled paper. This material is used for temporary structures such as pavilions or exhibition centers. The paper walls are treated with special substances that make them resistant to rain and fire. This is an example of how modern technologies allow for the construction of eco-friendly buildings that are easy to dismantle and recycle, leaving no harm to the environment. Amazingly, trees can communicate with each other. Scientists have discovered that trees communicate through root systems and fungal networks. This so-called wood wide web allows trees to share nutrients and warn each other about pests. They can send signals about water scarcity or threats so that nearby trees can prepare. This communication system makes forests much more complex and interconnected than we ever imagined. Surprisingly, it's a fact. Banknotes contain microscopic traces of cocaine. They also harbor a large number of microbes, including potentially harmful ones like Staphylococcus. This is due to the fact that money changes hands among many people, making it a source of microbial contamination. Additionally, most American dollar bills show microscopic traces of cocaine, confirming their frequent use in various places and circumstances. Did you know that cats use their whiskers as measuring tools? Cats are masters of agility, and their secret lies in their whiskers. These long, sensitive hairs aren't just decorative, they play an essential role. A cat's whiskers are usually about as wide as its body and help them determine whether they can fit through narrow spaces. It's like they have a built-in scanner that constantly analyzes their surroundings and warns them of obstacles. Thanks to these magic hairs, cats can move confidently even in complete darkness, always graceful and swift. So the next time you see a cat squinting to judge a space, remember, their whiskers have already done all the work in the background. Who would have thought every bird is a dinosaur? It's hard to believe, but that sparrow on your windowsill is a living descendant of the mighty dinosaurs. Paleontologists now confirm that modern birds evolved from small theropod dinosaurs, the same group that includes the ferocious Tyrannosaurus rex. Fossils like Archaeopteryx, which lived 150 million years ago, show a creature with feathers, wings, and a wishbone, classic bird traits, but also claws and teeth. Genetic studies reveal that chickens still carry dormant dinosaur DNA. Even feathers preserved in amber give us dazzling, colorful snapshots of prehistoric life. Birds retained what dinosaurs couldn't: lightweight bones, fast metabolism, and flight. So next time you hear a bird sing, remember, it's not just chirping, it's echoing across 65 million years of evolutionary survival. Can you imagine a shoe the size of a car? In 2015, an Indian shoemaking company crafted the world's largest shoe, measuring a whopping 6.4 meters in length and almost 3 meters in height. This colossal shoe is the equivalent of a US-sized 2090 and was made from leather, rubber, and foam. It's hard to imagine anyone wearing it, but it's certainly a record-breaking feat of craftsmanship. Believe it or not, the FBI had a Bigfoot file. In the 1970s, the FBI opened a real investigation into Bigfoot. Yes, the mythical ape-like creature of North American folklore. They received over 20,000 letters from citizens submitting hair samples, footprints, and blurry photos. One sample sent by a cryptozoologist from the Pacific Northwest prompted the FBI to conduct actual lab tests. Though the hair turned out to belong to a deer, the case was filed officially under cryptid reports and stored alongside UFO dossiers. The documents, declassified decades later, show how the agency took public concern seriously, even when it leaned toward the extraordinary. While Bigfoot remains elusive, his case file lives on as a quirky chapter in American science and skepticism. Sometimes even the most rational institutions indulge in a little monster hunting. Did you know that the peacock is the most colorful animal on Earth? The peacock, native to Asia, is crowned as the most vibrant animal on the planet. Its stunning array of colors includes brilliant blues, greens, yellows, purples, and reds. These dazzling feathers not only captivate potential mates, but also help the peacock ward off predators. Each feather is like a masterpiece, and together they create a living rainbow in nature. The peacock is truly a spectacle of nature, flaunting its colors like a work of art. The broken chains at the feet of the Statue of Liberty. At the feet of the Statue of Liberty are broken chains, symbolizing freedom from oppression and injustice. These chains, often hidden from view, send a powerful message: the continuous march towards emancipation and liberty. They serve as a reminder that the struggle for freedom never truly ends, and every step taken is part of the larger journey towards justice. The Statue of Liberty's broken chains represent hope and liberation for all. Zombies were never about brains, until Hollywood said so. The word zombie comes from West African and Haitian spiritual beliefs, not movie monsters. From the Congo term Nzambi, meaning spirit of the dead, the zombie was once a tragic figure, someone enslaved through dark magic, not a rotting corpse with a hunger for brains. Haitian voodoo lore described individuals buried alive, drugged into submission, and later revived in zombie-like states. In the 1800s, Western explorers sensationalized these accounts, while anthropologists discovered the real cause: neurotoxins like tetrodotoxin from pufferfish, creating a catatonic trance. Hollywood morphed this into cannibalistic horror during the Cold War era, feeding cultural anxieties. The zombie we know today is a far cry from its original roots, a chilling case of myth, misunderstanding, and media mutation. Is it really possible that Halong Bay is one of the most mystical places on the planet? Halong Bay in Vietnam is a true natural wonder. Thousands of islets immersed in green waters create the impression of a mystical world where reality blends with myth. The limestone formations rising from the ocean make this bay incredibly beautiful and mysterious. This place attracts tourists with its mystical charm and is perfect for those seeking solitude amidst natural beauty. Believe it or not, Angel Falls is the highest waterfall on Earth. Located in Venezuela, it has a height of 979 meters, making it the tallest drop of water in the world. Unlike other waterfalls, the water evaporates into the air before reaching the ground, creating a misty cloud effect. This natural phenomenon makes the falls unique, and their incredible height and beauty attract travelers from all over the globe. Did you know the Nile is the longest river in the world? The Nile River, which stretches approximately 6,650 kilometers, passes through 11 countries in northeastern Africa. These countries, Burundi, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Egypt, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda, depend on the Nile for their economies, cultures, and ecosystems. The Nile is not only a lifeline for millions of people, but also a witness to ancient history spanning millennia. Have you ever thought about how Petra in Jordan remained hidden from the world for almost 2,000 years? Petra is an ancient city carved into the rock, concealed from outsiders until 1812, when Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt stumbled upon it. This incredible city, once a thriving trade center, is now one of the most visited attractions in the Middle East. Its intricate architectural forms, hewn from red sandstone, make Petra not only a remarkable historical site, but also a true architectural wonder. It's interesting that Tokyo has no street addresses. In Tokyo, addresses are assigned not to streets but to buildings, which is very unusual for a large city. Buildings are numbered in order of construction, not by their location on a street. This means finding the right address for the first time can be challenging if you're not familiar with the area. Instead of streets, residents and visitors orient themselves by metro stations and districts, giving Tokyo a unique charm and character.